So meaning if you don't have a correct knowledge of what examination malpractice is, academic integrity, there is no how you can be a change out there, which is the center of everything majorly we'll be discussing this evening. All right, so with a round of applause, with your beautiful emojis, can we welcome Mr. Sam, Mr. Olalekan Samuel? All right, I hope Mr. Olalekan Samuel will tell us briefly about himself before he will start the show. All right, thank you. So you have the floor, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Olalekan Samuel. Please, I believe we can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, please.
We can hear
Yes,
you
we
well,
can.
sir.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Olalekan Samuel, as I said. I'm a pastor, and at the same time, I'm a special educator. I'm a special educator. I studied special education as an NC, and in my degree also I studied special education. My NC I major in education for persons with physical and health impairment. And when did my degree, I studied education for persons with hearing impairment, otherwise called deaf education. And mostly I go out also to, and I'm a web developer I'm coming up learning as a graphic designer. I talk to young minds also, and I want to say I also advocate for. I won't really call it for exam and prize, but I advocate for integrity, and advocate for integrity and sincerity in all that we do. And basically, is that I said to people, I hate cheating. I hate cheating. I hate being cheated, and I hate cheating someone. So all these things comes together to make myself. So I believe I've been able to give a brief introduction of myself, and I am privileged to be taking us today. Let me celebrate Mr. Akintunde Alexander because he's doing a wonderful and a great job. And I also want to appreciate him for giving me this privilege to share some things with us. If you are here, please send me some emojis. Let me see your emoji that you are here and you can hear me. Send me the emoji to show that you can hear me. All right, thank you, Divine. I can see that. Okay, Unblemished Advocacy. Thank you, Eunice. Thank you. So tonight we'll be talking. Let me share my screen so that we all can see what's going on. So
Do you
once you
want me
can see
to do
my
that for
screen, let
you?
me.
Make it easier for you?
I think I've done
Oh,
that.
all right,
I
that's
love
great.
to.
You are on already. All right, great. Yeah.
All right. So tonight we'll be talking about. I would still love to call it unblemished minds, unblemished future. Unblemished minds, unblemished future. That's a very powerful and a very serious topic for us to discuss tonight. When we talk about unblemished minds, I'll just give us the brief. Oh, let me ask: is there somebody that can briefly tell me when we say unblemished mind, what do we mean? Can someone just give me what you think it is when they say unblemished mind? What do you think it means? Can someone share that with me? One or two person. I think I saw Divine. Divine, can I ask you? Divine, are you there? Who else can I call? I'm trying to get our names the other time. So who can tell me what unblemished mind means? I wish I to
All right,
talk.
good
Let me
evening,
see if I.
everyone.
All right, Eunice, thank you. Good evening.
So, from my own understanding, unblemished mind is like somebody's like a mind without taints. That's like a mind without all this pollution of maybe corruption. A mind that is free of all these bias, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think is there anybody else? Let me see if I can get one more person to say something tonight. Do I have somebody else who can say something? Okay. I want us to talk. Don't make it boring. Encourage me by responding. So, do we have anybody wants to say something again? Okay. Briefly, let me tell us that, as she said, unblemished mind means a mind free from pollution. Mind free from pollution. Now, if you remember when we were in secondary school, they taught us pollution, and the summary of pollution is that anything that can contaminate the purity of a substance. For example, when we talk about water pollution, anything that is not making that water to be pure can be regarded as pollution. Please, do we get me? I want to be sure if you get me. Oh, can we hear me, please? I want to be sure. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, anything that prevents a substance to be pure can be regarded as pollution. So, when we talk about unblemished mind, so we are talking about anything that is not making the mind to be pure. Whatever prevents the mind from purity, whatever prevents the mind from being sincere, from being having a good life, from having a good thought, we can say that thing is what is now making that mind to be impure, to be polluted. So to have an unblemished mind simply means to have a mind free from pollution. And to have an unblemished future means you're not having a future where you have to be to prevent people from seeing your errors. There are people that they found their way through. They patched their WAEC results, they patched their JAMB result. So now where they are now, they are trying to do everything to cover up. So that kind of future is not the kind of future we are looking forward to. So tonight we'll be discussing that briefly. And also, what's the burden? The burden is this: exam malpractice has become increasingly normal, undermining merit, eroding trust, and producing graduates who possess certificates without competence. This is a very serious burden. And let me give us a brief story why I took this up personally when he shared it with me, why I took it up personally. I wrote an exam, NECO 2011, and I prepared for it. Was the first exam was biology, practical. So I read overnight. I prepared, did all I could, and biology practicals, you have to memorize so many diagrams, so many labelings because you don't know what is coming out. So at that point, I was prepared. I went to the exam hall. So as we were about to enter the exam hall, I just saw one guy he was going to the exam hall with a textbook, and I was scared. So I was trying to have you forgotten that you are holding a textbook? I was with that thought that, have you forgotten? But he didn't give me an answer. He didn't respond to me. Then I'm an external student, so there is no relationship with them. So we entered the exam hall. I discovered that I was the only one without anything extra, without a sheet of paper, without textbook, without anything. And I was trying to do my own. In fact, I was the only one going to the front to go and check the specimen. No other person is going out to check the specimen. I think they've been giving the specimen, giving the answer even before the exam day. So, like that. When the results came out, I failed biology, I failed chemistry, I failed physics, and I failed mathematics, but I passed Yoruba, English, and I cried. And I see some of these guys that passed their exam, they passed. And when we met at the cyber cafe that year when we were checking results, they were laughing at me. And they were making me feel like I was trying to act like the smart guy. I was trying to show them that I know my way at whereas it led me to. But this is the truth today, is that none of them were able to have an NC or OND certificate. Not even one of them that I knew. not even one of them that I related with that did that thing could say I have an OND, or that could say um, I have um, I have an NC. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say now. Give me an emoji if you try to get what I'm saying now. So the problem, thank you. Now the problem is that they they patched their way to get the smaller result. Every result is big, but there is one result that is smaller to another result that is coming. Now, if you look at the slide, there is a part below it that says the consequences extend beyond the classroom, feeding corruption, poor leadership, and weakened national development. This is the problem. It's just not about classroom. It is not just about let's pass WAEC, let's pass NECO. It's not just about let's have first degree. It is about we are feeding corruption. We are empowering corruption. It is that we are establishing, we are encouraging poor leadership. We are, for example, I was in a meeting one day and one person was preaching. I was saying it's a student environment that if you have never cheated in the exam before, raise up your hand. And nobody could raise up their hand in that meeting. And that man was saying some things that makes it looks like like supporting that act, and that's the problem. So even when you become a leader tomorrow, when that person becomes a leader, the person will not have the confidence, will not have the audacity to confront it. Except the Lord is helping the person. The person will not be able to have the confidence to confront it because he grew, he became what he become by that poor habit, by exam malpractices. I hope we understand what I'm trying to say now. And this has led to weakened national development. One of the things that I've seen is that quite a lot of us don't even know what we want. If we are asked to talk about the state of our country, to talk about the national state, we can write epistles. But the question is, do we really know what the problem is? Can we really establish that fact? Now look at it. It says, lasting change begins with a generation that values integrity above shortcut. Can somebody tell me, what do you think, what do you understand by the word integrity? Because integrity is going to be a very important word we are using tonight. But who can explain? Can you tell me what integrity means? Anybody? I think Eunice have spoken. Okay, can Isaac speak? I want to hear you, Isaac, Joshua, Lillian, Emmanuel. Can we speak? Ahmed. Okay, I can see that name. Ahmed, can you speak? Abdullah. Let me just hear from us. Divine. What when they
Good
talk about
evening.
integrity? Yeah, good evening.
This is Isaac.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I believe integrity just means being truthful in all circumstances.
Okay, being truthful in all circumstances. I love that definition. Thank you, Isaac.
You're welcome, sir.
Now, integrity means being truthful in all. But one thing about integrity is this, that we need to get is remaining yourself in every situation. Integrity means this is you. You are maintaining this and you remain that in all situations. Okay, this is it now. I do not partake in exam malpractice. Even when nobody is there, even when nobody is sitting with you, you decide not to cheat. I believe we get what I'm trying to say now. So, integrity is very important. Being truthful. I think I love that one. Being truthful in all situations. Being truthful in all situations, whether somebody there or not, you remain yourself and you are trying to be truthful. So let's continue. Now, if you look at what we have here, this is the statistics of of the country. Let me use it that way. This is exposing our country. I got these statistics from WAEC and how they give us all these analysis of the the state in 2025, what they did last year, there's 192,089 results were withheld. I believe we can still see my screen. Now, almost 193,000 results were withheld for one reason: exam malpractice. For one reason: exam malpractice. Now, let me give us some thinking here. Do you know that there are some people that they will be caught and the supervisor will not report? Let's be truthful now so that we can help ourselves. Do you know that outside this 192,089, there are still some about 10,000 people that the supervisor did not report because he just felt maybe the person just called his friend, my friend, all right, question 1, question 2, they didn't catch them with solid evidence. Maybe they didn't catch them with phone, they didn't catch them with paper, but they caught them discussing. Then the supervisor just said, okay, let's forgive them. It's not really a serious issue. Please, if you agree with me, give me an emoji that there are people like that they will overlook their error. So, do we agree with me that there are still some people that were not in this stats, but yet they partook? Yeah, thank you, Isaac. Now, let's now assume that it is 10% of these 192,000 people. Thank you, Divine. It is 10%. That means there is another 19,289, if I am correct, 19,000 plus people that the supervisor did not report their case. So if you add it to this 192, that means we are having about over 200,000 exam malpractice in 2025. We have it in 2025. Let's look at it for JAMB. The JAMB also withheld 39,834 students' results. Their results were withheld for impersonation, biometric fraud, and answering, sharing things. They are sharing answers and all. There are still people that were not caught. But even for those that were caught, that was 39,834. Now, this is it. It just looked like a figure, but let's look at the stats. Now, if you now look with students with 5 credits in Nigeria, they came down from 72.12% in 2024. They dropped. That's what that stat is saying. They dropped. And another crisis is that our national budget on education is 5 to 7%, whereas UNESCO recommended 15 to 20%. 15 to 20%. These are concerned problem. And let me tell you one thing. One reason why there is no funding is not because there is no money, as it is being said. It is because we have found a way to pass. We have gotten a way to pass. And that is why funding has not been taken serious. And these are the results. If care is not taken, this stat we see may increase. And the more it increases, the more the problem we will have in the society. I believe we understand what I'm trying to say now. Now, let's go. There is something that put me to thought. Since 2018 till date, we have always been recording over 100,000 of results being withheld. There are reforms, they will tell you there are reformation, there are things they are doing, there are that they are doing, but there is still one thing that is consistent. We are still getting over 100,000 papers being withheld every year. Guys, it is not a good pattern. It is not a good pattern we are seeing. It is not encouraging. I'm talking about WAEC now, not JAMB. WAEC has always been giving report that over 100,000 students are involved in exam malpractice. This is not encouraging. We can see the start on the screen. We can see the start on the screen. We can see how this is going. Now, what is academic integrity? I want us to look into this thing. Now, we can come up and give definitions to academic integrity. We give it different, but I try to look at it and I want to use the global academic community, what they call academic integrity. And the reason I am using global academic community is that when you leave Nigeria, it is still the same thing that we uphold. When you go and face educational system in a different place, this is what they will uphold. So the first thing we are going to see here is honesty. Do we have somebody that can tell me what honesty is? Should I call name again? I think Isaac have spoken, Eunice have spoken, and I have somebody else who is going to explain. When they talk about honesty, what do you think they are trying to say? What do you think honesty is? I want to hear us, please. What is honesty?
So, good evening. My name is
Good evening.
Abraham. So, I'll
All
tell
right.
you the honesty is telling the truth and presenting reality exactly as it is. So, I'd put it like it's like refusing to deceive, misinterpret, or maybe omit facts to like gain an
I can't
unfair
hear you
advantage.
well.
Okay, can you hear me properly now?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so what I said is that honesty is like telling the truth and presenting reality exactly as it is. So it means
Okay,
like refusing to deceive or maybe misinterpret or omit facts to like gain an unfair advantage or to protect yourself.
okay. Divine is raising up his hand. Am I right?
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Good evening,
You're
everyone.
welcome.
Please, according to my understanding, honesty is just doing justice to yourself and others, as doing the truth, being the real you in your, let me say, in when you are alone and when you are in the mix of other people as well. Thank you.
Thank
Just
you.
doing justice to yourself and others.
I love that. Thank you. Let's look at what is written under this place. Honesty says pursuing and presenting truth in one's own work and claims. Pursuing and presenting truth in one's own work and claims. Now, so when they talk about honesty is you are making effort and presenting truth in your work and claim. In your work and claim. You are presenting it. You are not trying to patch things up. You know, even we are in the days of artificial intelligence, where in our own secondary school days, when teacher give us an assignment, they say, don't go to Google, don't go and ask Google anything. Now, it will tell you, don't go to AI. I'm not even sure some students really understand what Google really means again. AI can write you a full project from the beginning to the end. That, using AI to do all your work is another form of exam malpractice, is another form of malpractice on its own. But presenting truth in your own work and claim. Something happened when I went to do my exam, my GCE in 2011. That was the first time I heard about non-appearance. It was a GCE exam. I failed the one I went to do at that school, so I had to do it again. I didn't pay for Paris again. I didn't even know they pay for it in that center because I've never been to that school. I don't know anybody. So I go to that center, I just realized I was the only one in a very big hall. Every other student were in their own, they were in another place. I was the only one. It was strange. I was like, my seat number was 360 something or 380 something. I should know it's over 300. Then where are the other 300 plus before me? Even if I'm the last number, I was the only one. I did the exam. So the following day, we were writing the exam. That was when we had that. I don't know, just the external supervisor is coming. Lo and behold, they took me back to the general hall. Then I saw that we were plenty. But the moment the external supervisor came, I just saw people running away. Before we know it, about over 400 students, we were left with less than 50 students in that hall. That was the day I just had the external supervisor saying, so you are practicing non-appearance here. You are practicing. That was the day I knew the meaning of non-appearance. Honesty. 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 Those people too will get that result. They will present it for admission. They will present it for wherever they are working, that they've gone to write WAEC, they've gone to write NECO, and they passed. Is that truthful enough? So those are things. Number two is trust. Trust. Do we have somebody else who can also briefly tell me what trust means when we say trust? Trust. Trust. All right, thank you.
Trust in means believing in yourself.
Okay.
Yes. And then,
All right. Okay, you said trust is believing in yourself. I love that. But in this place, in this aspect we are trying to look at it, trust goes beyond believing in yourself. It is rather building an environment where your word can be relied on. Trust is building where your word can be relied on. When I was preparing for JAMB, we went for a tutorial center, and in my tutorial center then, they know I am very bad when it comes to English. In fact, they know that when it comes to English, Samuel is not doing great. But when it comes to biology, I will talk. When it comes to chemistry, I will talk small. Oh, when it comes to physics, we will argue. When it comes to mathematics, today I will pass, tomorrow I will fumble. So something now happened. We did a classwork. It was on stress. When they will ask you where did they stress the word, emphatic stress and the like. I did not understand what we are doing, but somehow we did classwork, about 20 questions. I passed everything. So I passed, and some of those guys, immediately we submitted, the teacher said, Samuel, are you the one that did this work? He just called me and said, Sam, are you sure you are the one that did this work? I was, I can't say no. I said, yes, I'm the one. He said, Samuel, are you sure? Already he was saying, are you sure? He can't beat me. But he kept on pressuring me. Are you sure? He now said something. Sam, if I ask you to do this again, we use this score 2020. I can't answer again. At that point, the teacher knew that it was not my work. He can't beat me, he can't kill me, he can't do me anything, but he knew that that is not my work. That is what integrity is all about. You can be relied upon, where your word can be relied upon, where your results can be relied upon. That when you present an assignment, when you present a work, when you present your certificate, they can rely on you that this thing is good. The next one is fairness. Trying to catch up now. Fairness means applying consistent standards to all regardless of influence. Applying consistent standards to all regardless of influence. That's it. That 2011 taught me a lot of lessons when it comes to O level. After then, I've been seeing things, but my own practical experience. There were schools in Nigeria that their students will score distinction in their O level. They will score A, B in their O level. I don't want to mention any name. So where I went to check my result, there was a guy I failed mathematics, I failed physics, I failed chemistry. So I only passed English and biology from all the subjects I needed that year. So this guy came, it was from that school. That school, as at 2011, if you want to write WAEC there, you have to pay 180,000, and that's what they do. You pay 180,000 for WAEC. The guy just came, they checked his NECO result, distinction, A, B, everything. The guy said, I must pass. I felt bad. But what happened was that when the time to check JAMB results came, we met again. This guy did not score up to 100 in JAMB. He did not score up to 100 out of 400. And we that failed NECO, we did better. So the moment the result came, and it was that confidence that made him so the moment his result was open to everybody, the same way he flaunted his NECO result. But one thing is that he failed JAMB. And what got us surprised was that how can somebody who had A and BBB in NECO cannot even score 115 JAMB? He didn't score up to 100. He didn't score up to 100. So when we talk about academic integrity, is when you apply consistent standards to all, regardless of influence. Why I use that as an example was that we know that school, if you are there, you cannot fail. How they do it, we don't know, but you cannot fail. So it has nothing to do with maybe you are intelligent or not or anything, but once you attend that school for your O level, once you register there, you cannot fail. Where is the fairness? Then we always see JAMB as the level ground. JAMB will expose us that who is good and who is not good. So integrity. I'm saying this so that when you become WAEC coordinator, when you are becoming the chairman for JAMB or WAEC, so that you can apply fairness. Fairness. Next thing we have there is respect. Respect for colleagues and for the ideas and labor of others. You know, I'm in a school presently and the school take plagiarism very serious. I never knew how serious plagiarism is until I got to that school. If I am done with my assignments, if I will submit tomorrow morning, tonight, I will check the plagiarism. Tomorrow morning, before I submit, I will check the plagiarism. It might look like, why are they giving us all this pressure? But that is a way of respecting others' ideas. You can't just pick other people's ideas and use it without giving them their proper acknowledgement. For your colleagues, for their ideas and for their labor, you must respect it. You must respect it. The next one here is responsibility, owning to one's choices and their consequences. You have to own your choices and you have to own your consequence. Bro, guys, I failed 2011. I failed. But one thing is, I can face anybody that I didn't pay for those things others are paying for. I didn't pay. When I got to school, my NC days, I failed one course in 100 level first semester, and that was the last course I've ever failed in an institution. When I failed, other people were shouting, it's not my result, it's not my result. I just kept quiet. I just kept quiet. Why is it that is the only course I failed among all? You must take responsibility for your choices and the consequences that comes after. That is academic integrity. You don't say when you fail, they gave me that result. Then when you pass, you say you work for it. No. And then the last thing we have here is courage, acting on one's value, even when it's costly. You know, when I did something when I was in an institution and I was in the exam hall. There is this guy who is in another fellowship, but we are very close. So when we are trying to enter the exam hall, he was trying to, let's arrange ourselves. When I got to the exam hall, they called me till tomorrow. I did not answer them. They called me. I did not answer them. They called me. I did not answer them. They did all they could. I did not answer them. That day when we finished the exam, he could not confront me because he can't tell his fellow, he's an executive, so he can't tell his fellowship members that he was trying to ask for answer. But somehow, I took the courage to stand for values that I respected. You don't have to consider the cost. That is academic integrity. Greeting your friend inside the exam hall, how far is it simple? And your friend says it's simple, simple. It's still exam malpractice. So if he says it's not simple, are you going to tell him or her the answer? You have to own it. What we have here is let's check the many phases of exam malpractice. There are some that are not listed here that I will share as a number one is impersonation and identity fraud. Let's also think, I'm going to ask us things that we know that the exam malpractice that is not listed here. Impersonation and identity fraud. This is something that I'm sure many of us know. Somebody writing an exam for you on your behalf, or somebody trying to register for you. You want to write JAMB, so somebody is trying to use his thumb to register for you, so that the person can enter the hall and write something like that. Just trying to use a different identity to write an exam for somebody. The second one where we have is unauthorized devices in the exam hall. Or not unauthorized devices in the exam hall. You are going with phones, you are going with smart wristwatch, you are going with smart lenses, goggle lenses. So all those things are exam malpractice. Another one is we have organized answer sharing rings. Organized answer, this thing is very common, and I still see it even this year. I still see it among some people that they would have been sharing answers among themselves before they answer the exam. Or some people that cannot go in with the sheet, they would have crammed the answer. They would have put everything on their head. The next thing they will just do is that they enter the exam or they are pouring it out. That's wrong. This is it: plagiarism and data fabrication in research. And I always say the school I'm presently in is a theological school. I appreciate them for these areas. They really helped me. Plagiarism and data fabrication in research. What we do some of the times, like this research we are doing, you can't just go and pick somebody's data and just use it to represent your own. It is wrong. In fact, it is a punishable offense under the law. It is not your data. You cannot take responsibility for it. That statement you are quoting, that definition you are writing, you are not the one that gave it. Then give proper response, proper reference to the person that owns it. Don't say it like it is your own. Then what we have here again is leaked or pre-released question papers. I just spoke about it not quite long. Question papers have been leaked. Some people have been doing it. It's wrong. Special centers that facilitate cheating, that is also not good. Special center, that school I was talking about, honestly, when we were in secondary school, we call it special centers. But then, normal WAEC, then I paid 11,000 for my NECO. But if you are going to pay in that school, then it's almost 180, over 100,000, close to 200,000. So it's like you want to write an exam now, you are telling somebody to pay 500,000 or 600,000. That's something like that. Special centers, they are wrong. Collusion by supervisors or invigilators. So supervisors would have matched up with them, give them some things, blah blah blah, and those ones too will do. Ghostwriting and contract cheating. Ghostwriting and contract cheating. They ask you to, so you are like, for example, this project we are working on at the moment, then you decide to ask somebody to go and write it for you, to go and do that thing for you. It's still part of cheating. Be responsible for what you are doing. Can somebody also help me with some things that are not listed here? I still want to see if there are things that are not listed here, and we also know that there are exam malpractice. Let's get like 2 or 3. Do we have anybody? Like 2 or 3 that you want to share about it. I spoke about ghostwriting and contract exchange. Okay, I think another one that is very serious is talking in the exam hall. Talking in the exam hall. Yes, you did not go to the exam hall with any of these things, but you decide to share your answer with somebody. It's part of, I did something too when I got admission to my NC, which I did not know it was bad also. Until later I knew it was bad, and I went to the lecturer, but he forgave me. What happened was that we were doing a general course. It was mathematics. So the questions were very simple. They were just on number base, convert from base 2 to base 5, from base 5 to base 10. They were just giving us. And it is answer 2 questions. The 2 questions is question 1A and 1B, 2A and 2B3. So just answer 2 questions. And in 30 minutes, I answered them. I knew I'm going to pass them. I'm not I'm not good in mathematics, but not something like that that will fail me. And I saw this. I don't know how this lady from Adam, but she's taking that course again. She carried the course over. So she did not write anything. She's not writing anything. I felt bad for her. She was almost crying because she failed the course and she's writing again. She did not know anything. You know what I did? I wrote the complete answer at the back of my question paper and I passed it here to her. I collected her own question paper. I went to submit. So I went home. So when I got home and I was discussing in my hostel, so one of our fellowship presidents, our fellowship president was there. So the brother now said, "Did you mean you do this?" I said, "Now, did you know that you have just partook in exam?" I said, "No, I cannot allow her to fail." Blah blah blah. Blah. That was how he began to explain to me what I did. So I went to meet the lecturer and explain. The lecturer said, "Do you know the person?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "If we punish, we only punish you alone, and that one will go. But don't do that again." And that was the last time I did it. So that is that those things are part of it. You pity the person. What you can do for such a person is teach them before you enter the exam hall. Not that you are going to be helping them in the exam hall. Do we have one or two persons that want to say that? One or two persons that want to say something on that? Do we have? Okay, let's move. I want to talk about why has it become normal? Why has it become normalized in our country? Number one is systemic underfunding. Please, can we still hear me? All right, thank you. Now, systemic underfunding. You know, when we were in secondary school, we realized that people who attended private school, they do better than those who attended government school. Those who attended government school, only out of about 200 people in one class, you can only see 3 or 4 persons that will be very good. Even those ones that are very good, when you take them to private school, they can become an average student in private school. Maybe one will exceptionally top up the table. Why? One of those things is that they are not well funded. Overcrowded classrooms and under-resourced schools make honest conditions hard to secure. I don't know, I've entered government classes before and you see about 100 students in one class. You see about 100 students in one class and the teacher will stand in front of them, no public address system. There is no enough chairs to sit down. There is no most of the students can't see the board from where they are sitting. So one of those things make it become normal. Systemic underfunding. Number 2 is weak enforcement. The truth is arrests are rare, convictions are rarer, and signaling real risk. Now this is it. You barely hear that people were arrested for exam malpractice. Even if you hear they were arrested, which it has happened before, you can really hear them that they go to court, then they sentence them for 10 years imprisonment, for 15 years imprisonment. So that makes it look like there's nothing hard in it. We will survive it, we will go through it, we will do this to it, we will do that to it. And that's how people makes it become normal. There was a school in my area in Ibadan. So I had it on the news that the school was caught in exam malpractice. And I knew the man that knows the school. But it's a government, one of the government officials, an honorable. So I felt for the man. Yeah. So in fact, I called him and I said, Samuel, don't worry. Blah, blah, blah. Should I tell you, brethren, the following year, this same school sat for exams again. They sat for WAEC and NECO. They passed. The student passed again. So those things will make it normal. Result at all cost culture. Result at all cost culture. You know, these are one of the things that we need to work on. A certificate is priced above the competence it should certify. I am not saying that they should not. I'm not saying that certificates should be devalued or certificates should not be considered, but they should focus on competence over certificate. I never understood what people say when you go for NYSC. There are people that cannot write their name until when I witnessed it. We were standing on the line for our normal registration as we enter camp, and lo and behold, there is this one brother. He's a guy. He was there for over 10 minutes when they said they should write his name. And they were saying, can't you spell? Can't you this? Can't you that? They had to tell him, but your name is on your ID card. He now brought out his ID card, trying to write words for word what is on the ID card as his name. I'm telling you, would have been saying it. I really don't believe it until when I saw this. So things like that, peer normalization, where cheating is well spread, honest students feel disadvantaged for resisting. I felt so too my own days. But even if I want to partake in it, there is no money. To pay for WAEC is miracle. So where will I get money to pay for my practice? So normal things like that, peer group pressure will set in, and some erosion of shame, which is the last thing, is repeated exposure without consequence does the discomfort once attached to it. That's it. Many people have felt normal that there is no shame to this thing again. In fact, there are some schools that they will tell you as you are registering, do you want to register for this or that? And there is no shame to it. It has become normal. What's the effect? Number one is we are going to have people with certificates without real competence. Unpreparedness surfaces later, often painfully. And that's the truth. It has been happening. We have people who are first class older but cannot construct good English. I'm very bad in English, but I tell people, if I can see somebody who cannot speak good English, it is worst for that person. Now, that is it. We have people with results. We have graduates on the street. We have people moving around. And the honest truth is the real competence is not there. The real competence is not there. They are not prepared. And this thing becomes an issue later on. Institutions, what happened to institution is that credibility of qualifications erodes. Trust and verification cost rise. And that's the truth. If you see people that tries to travel out, that have been trying to apply for scholarship, you discover that there are stringent measures for African nations. There are stringent measures for Nigerians. Even some of those who are outside the country, they are still going through some levels of vetting because they are questioning, are we sure that this certificate is true or not? And on the nation, what do we have? We have weak workforce productivity, deeper corruption, and slowed development. And that's the truth. That is why you see secondary school teachers who cannot speak good and simple English, and they are called teachers, and they are being paid every month by the government. That is why you get to see where I served. I won't mention the state because it's happening all over in Nigeria. There's SS3 students of that year cannot differentiate between capital letter and small letter, yet they have English teacher and they have teachers in that school. But SS3 student who is about to write WAEC cannot differentiate between capital letter and small letter. We have produced teachers, we have produced laborers, we have produced men in the country without good productivity, without anything they can add to the nation. And this is it. What is now what we are doing? What are we going to do? You are not distant observer of the system. You are its rising practitioners. We must take that and we must admit that. Many of us came out of this system. Whether you did it in your own days or you did not do it, there is one thing that is very sincere, is that in between those things, we saw them. In between those things, we were able to point to at least somebody or to a center that this is what you do. So what are you going to do? Hold your own coursework, data and authorship to the standard you'd expect of any student you supervise. I am pricking it. So if you're a practitioner, you are going to hold your own coursework, your data and authorship. So what you want any student, what you want to see is what you stand for. You are having the privilege to do this now. You can stand for it. You can be different. And for mentor and influencers, you can use your visibility among peers and younger students to make honesty socially normal again. And that is what Unblemished Advocacy is standing for. It is time that we start making people to see that honesty is good, integrity is good. You might be the only voice among the 100, but if you are not silent, your voice will double one day. Your voice will triple one day, and before you know it, you also become a voice. You become an influencer, helping people to stand for what is true. Institutional advocate. Speak up through appropriate channels and support fair, transparent assessment system. These are things that we need to do. What are you doing with the social media platform? What are you doing with what are the things you are standing for, you are encouraging? And what does this in characteristics of an integrity champion? Your work must be original, honest, and have a complete credit. Let your work be original. Please, can we still hear me? Let your work be original. Let it be honest, and let it have a good credit, complete credit. Please, can we still hear me? I'll be rounding off soon. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you. So let those work. Another thing we have is refuse shortcuts even when the risk is low. You have to refuse shortcuts even when the risk is low. Avoid it. Avoid it when the risk is low. Hold themselves accountable before holding others. Before you start holding others, hold yourself accountable. How did I get here? What are my ways? What are the things I've done? If you have been doing this before, you can change. You can change. Report data accurately, including inconvenient findings. That's just it. Be honest. Be honest. Be honest with everything you are doing. Speak up calmly when witnessing dishonesty. Speak up calmly when witnessing dishonesty. Treat every assessment as a chance to demonstrate, not just claim competence. And that's it. Every assessment, every opportunity you have, treat them as a means to demonstrate competence. As a means to demonstrate competence. Now, as a research follow, what's going to be our commitment? This is where I am going to be taking us serious. Our commitment is that I will do my own work and honestly credit the work of others. I will not participate in, facilitate, or stay silent about malpractice. I will mentor at least one peer this time on academic honesty. I will treat every data point and citation as a matter of personal integrity. I will use my voice to make honesty the expected norm. You will do me a favor, as everybody, we are going to unmute our mic and we are going to read these together. Can we hear me?
Very
I hope
well.
we can hear me. So I want us to all just mute our mic at this point. We're all going to mute our mic at this point. And we are going to read this together. We are going to say this together. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's take that together. I will do my own work and honestly credit the work of others. I will not participate in, facilitate, or stay silent about malpractice. I will mentor on academic. I will treat every data point and citation and personal. I will use my honestly Thank you. That is our commitment. And this is very important. You can screenshot this to remind yourself. I'm telling you, the new society we are looking for can start with us. It can begin with us. The change can start. I wish to be able to have a society where my children will not even know that there are special centers. It can begin. Unblemished minds, unblemished future. The choice and the responsibility begins with each of us in this room. It begins. You are not being asked merely to avoid dishonesty. You are being commissioned as the generation that makes honesty inspirational again. Let me stop here and let's see if there are anybody with questions. I want to take questions and contributions too, if we have. So do we have anybody with questions, with contribution? Do we have anybody? Questions? Let's go with question first. Anybody with question? So I would say nobody's having question, or we are still thinking about it.
I have something to say.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yes, I don't know, maybe it's like a question or something. When I was in my 500 level, when I was in my
Okay.
500 level, we were writing a particular exam, or we wrote a particular exam. Then after the exam, the students went to report to the HOD that the question the lecturer gave was too simple, that everyone will pass, which is not supposed to be. I don't know, maybe based on his own knowledge. Last thing, that attitude or what he did, was it truly good or not?
Okay. And let me answer. I believe that there are people that will still respond to it. But you see, one of the things that I learned recently where in the school I am present is that exam is not actually to make you pass or to make you fail. Exam is to evaluate if you really understood what you've been taught or not. For example, in this school, you can actually write an exam and you see your lecturer, and your lecturer will still call you back and say, and still give you. So I was wondering, one day I joined a conversation of some students outside the country. The guy that organized the talk is in the US. He was one of a, he's also running a PhD program in the US, then others guys. And then I listened and I was seeing how guys were talking. And I realized that even in the US, they don't set exam for them to pass or to fail. They set exam to evaluate what they've known. So whether it is simple or it's not simple, it's not the major thing. But I think the student that went to report that it is too simple, I can't say that is an exam malpractice, because he or she did not find anybody cheating. Should be something hard. She felt that exam should be something scrutiny that will make your L2. I don't think it's right, actually. It's not right that you're saying exam is too simple. The truth is, every exam is always simple. Every exam is always simple. But if you did not read, it is not simple. I think I've been able to answer that. I don't know if you have anybody to also say it.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm reading.
I think you've done justice to that question. You've answered correctly, right? So, for someone to say an examination is simple, it's because you know it. Anything you don't know is not simple. Either reading A to Z or adding one plus two. If you don't know it, you don't know it. I don't know if that has happened to you before. Maybe you found yourself in a situation where someone asks you a question and you don't know it, and the person is quite very amazed, like, you don't know that? That's quite a very simple question. It's a common knowledge everywhere. For example, asking you that maybe, for example, you're in Nigeria, and someone asks you maybe the capital city of Nigeria, and you are like, you don't know it. It's a common knowledge available for everyone. Why won't you know that? But the person asking you that question, saying that's quite simple, you don't know it, is because the person knows it. But you not knowing it is because you don't know it, irrespective how simple it is. So that in itself, just like Mr. Sam has rightly said, examination, the main motive of examination is not to fail. Examination is not set, or any assessment is not really a structure to fail students. Yeah, it is a structure just to test your understanding of the knowledge matter. So it's not something to fail. So if you have such understanding about examination or assessment, you will take it as not a pass by all means mentality. So assessment is not, you should not have a mindset of passing by all means for every assessment, because it's not designed to fail you. It is just to assess your level of knowledge. So having such mindset will help us to embrace and see examination and assessment in a better way, and for us to maybe answer or approach it better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I want to, okay, Mr. Caleb Ayobami. Now, let me say this, is that if we want to fight this exam malpractice, we don't have to fight it by tribe, by region, or by locality. We have to fight it as a nation. And that's the truth we have to say. I saw where you were saying that in the East it happened. Let me tell you that when I served in Akwa Ibom, I saw things. I saw things. My friend who served in Bayelsa, I can't be telling us things. People doing WAEC 8 p.m. Others have done their own in the morning, and they started around 8 p.m. If you get to Ibadan, you will see the same thing. If you get to Lagos, you will see the same thing. If you get to Abuja, you will see the same thing. So, but if we start tagging a particular side of the country, we are not ready to fight it. We are not ready to move. So that is why I am saying that wherever we are, and that's why this project is cutting across the nation. It's not focusing on one part of the country. Wherever we are, let all of us face it and start speaking out for it. I have seen common entrance exam where they are giving those children answers to the question. I am not fabricating things here. Common entrance to enter GSS1, they were telling them question 1, those questions are just OBJ, but they were telling them the answer. So it is something that is deeper than we now addressing it by a part. I've got your story, but I'm just letting us understand that it is a national issue. The truth is, when you step out of this country, you are a Nigerian. It is we that we ask of you, are you an Igbo? Are you an Igbo? They say, I'm an Igbo, I'm a Yoruba. Once you are out of this place, they see you as a Nigerian. So if we want a better academic country, a country with a better academic result, then we have to treat it as a nation. Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and I'm grateful to Mr. Alex for this opportunity and Unblemished Advocacy. They've in the last few months, they've made me to read more books on education, and I had to go and start reading on statistics. And when he shared the vision with me, sometimes he said, go and think about it. And so the first thing is I went to read about it. In fact, that was why I was able to get all these stats easily, because I had to go and read about it, coupled with my experience. Thanks for widening my knowledge and for pushing me. Honestly, I didn't even know that I will find reading them interesting. And reading them really brought a burden into my heart. And few people around me, I have to call them and start talking to them about exam malpractice. And we are trying to solve a problem in Unblemished Advocacy. And I believe that in the next 5 years, it would have been solved, if not totally, at least by over 50%. Thank you so much. I am grateful and I'm honored. God bless us all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Sam. Your presentation was really very clear, interesting and enjoyable. You really deliver. Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful. And I believe all of us has catch one or two things from academics and ethics. All right, so quickly before we end today, I will be bringing up some interactive questions from some of his discussion for us to discuss. And I'll be sharing some stories with us. So at Unblemished Advocacy, we have like a project tagged Unashamed. Though it's still, the project is still very much in a preliminary stage. We're still trying to see a way to bring it up, but we're still incubating it. We tag it Unashamed, where we'll be reaching out to young ones youth, just like me and you, that believe so much in integrity in the academics, then we sharing our story, right? All of us has once been a victim of examination malpractice. As you see me, I was a victim of examination malpractice. We are all victims, right? So when we make decision to start living rightly, to stop it, then there's always a day where you make that decision to stop it and no, today I want to stop doing this because I have now learned that it is wrong, which I believe is what Mr. Sam was putting to us, that we've learned something very insightful today. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? So beyond looking at tribes, states, and how the issue is very big, let it start from you. Why not make a decision today that from today henceforth, around you, in your environment, in all that you will try your possible best to shun examination malpractices. So, right, so I'll be sharing some stories with us relating to some of us that we have stood for that, and I'll be raising some conversations around that. So, firstly, I would love to ask before I share my story. Do you really think it's difficult to pass examination or any form of assessment by yourself or by personally? Do you think it's difficult? Is it really difficult? Or let me ask that, do I have anyone on this call that have sat for examination by themselves before? Maybe not necessarily that you don't want to commit malpractice, not necessarily that you don't want to, but maybe on that day, maybe you had formations. I believe you could relate now. Maybe while in school, then you had formations with your friends, but there used to be there was one supervisor or invigilator that disrupt your formation, and by that means you just had to pour everything you know by yourself. Nobody could help you. You couldn't call anybody, or maybe the supervisor stood by you all through, or you were isolated somewhere and you had to do everything by yourself. How do you feel? Do you pass the exam? Do you fail it? How do you feel? Do you learn any lesson from that? I don't know if I have anyone that would love to share. Do you really understand my illustration? Oh, thank you, Emmanuel. All right, great. Let me hear from you. Click on Emmanuel.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Once again,
Yeah.
my experience is one of being prepared. That is advocating. I've always, right from my, let's say my senior secondary, I've always advocated for writing exams without examination malpractice, and that came to be as a result of in my JSS, I think my JSS 2, I there was this exam. I think, I don't know, second semester or third, sorry, second term or third term. There was this exam I and my guys, we all cheated, and surprisingly, I I was the one with the least score. And obviously, previously I've been hearing about reading on your own, writing exams and stuff like that. So I from that time, the people I cheated with, one came out with third, another one fifth, and I was just behind. They left me behind. So from that time, I purposefully decided that I would no longer be cheating, and I think that from that moment it changed. Even in my junior secondary, the junior secondary exam, I could remember when I wrote the exams finished, there was this guy that was my seatmate. He was sitting at the front of me, and my namesake, Emmanuel, also. So during the exam, he disturbed my life a lot. That I should share answer with him, and I would tell him that outside of the exams I can teach, inside of the exams I don't teach. So at the end of the day, when we wrote the exams and we finished, the guy met me and he called me that I was a very wicked person. But there was something that there's something that he always makes is a comment, even until recently. He said that I am a wicked person, and that during that exam I did not help him, but he still copied my work. So that's been quite my story. Yeah.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for sharing. Right. Something I picked very interesting from your story is someone asking you to share in the exam and you saying no, that you can only share or you can only teach outside the exam. Now, let me ask you, it's a general knowledge. So if Emmanuel has decided to share in the exam, is that helping? Or for Emmanuel to have decided not to share, is that wickedness? Because definitely that's what people turn me to. When you decided to say no, you don't want to cheat in the exam, you don't want to tell someone, people will say you are wicked. Yeah, you are the true no person. You want to pass alone, right? You want to be the only one that want to have A. That's what people say. So I want us to discuss about, what do you think? Do you think it's bad? Do you think there's nothing wrong in at least helping someone in the exam? At least God said we should be helping ourselves, in quotes, the word help. So what do you think about that? I would love to hear our mind. This is really why we are discussing with Deliberate. I think all of these are important for us to really have a depth understanding of examination, assessment, and what examination malpractices is it. Isaac, speak on, please.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, I think in the aspect of that, of what you said, teaching in the examination, number one, everyone we all know that is an offense. And also in the aspect of your friends, what do they say about you? I think it's just once you are consistent and you maintain the discipline, they will know you for who you are. While I was in during my exam, there are some people that we know that they don't even share material even once we have gotten to 1 hour before exam, they don't even talk to anybody again. And as far as you say, it's wickedness. But once that's where I think that's where discipline comes in. Once you discipline yourself that this is what I want to learn, then people will know you for who you are. Then that's why you see that there are people that cheat in the exam, they know themselves. You don't need to if you just pick one of them that point out to people that are cheating, they will point them out because they already know themselves. They know that this is what this person is for, and this is what this person is. So in the aspect of cheating in the exam, I see it as an offense. Yes.
Yeah.
Like I had one issue, I had an issue like that in my school that a student went during the exam. She wrote a list of our classmate that cheated, and she went to submit it to the HOD. She went to submit it. So when they asked her, she said the reason. She said that those people that cheat, at the end of the day, they'll come up with the best results in the exam. She could not do up to them, as she even read, they will still get more than them. So they went to report the issue, and thankfully, our HOD acted on it. Then, at least that's reduced the examination malpractice. So, everything, although people talk, they insulted that, but that's why I said that one thing, once they know that this is you, then, and you do not bend, it's not like you are bending towards favoring them, then I think you are good to go.
Great. Thank you so much, Isaac. That was explicit. Thank you. All right. So, in essence, we've all agreed that it is called cheating when you share answers in the exam. It is not helping. That is not helping. It is cheating. So, in a simple term, what is examination malpractice? Examination malpractice is any act that you commit, that you do in the exam, in the examination hall, or for any exam condition that against the rule of the exam. It is very simple. The rule of an exam doesn't allow you sharing answers in the exam, does it? If it does not, if you do that, it is examination malpractice. So I had to make it very simple as that because there are some examination that are open examination. Do you know we have open examination? There are some examination where you are allowed to come in with your textbooks. Do you know that? So in such examination, if you come in with your textbook, that is not malpractice because you are obeying the rule of the exam. So in essence, let me repeat it again. What is examination malpractice? Is anything, no matter how little it is. It could be as little as just talking, as whispering, as giving a sign, contrary to the rule of the exam, is examination malpractice. So the real matter is disobedience. It's not really talking to my friend. Is he wrong? Is he not wrong? The real issue is disobedience. So anything you do that disobeys the law of that particular examination is examination malpractice. It is as simple as that. We don't have to bug ourselves with unnecessary headaches. Is this wrong? Is this right? It is as simple as that. All right, so and I'm so happy that we've all got that, and I do hope and believe we'll be making decisions today to start standing for the right thing. All right, so I'll be going ahead to share some stories, maybe one or two, which we can learn from. We can see one or two things, and we discuss briefly, and we close. But before then, before I share my story, I would love to share a video firstly before I will talk more on the story. All right, let me know once you can see my screen. So at the initial of this vision, Unblemished Advocacy, I came up with this video. The video is quite very long. It's not long, rather it's aged. Let me put it that way. It's as aged maybe 2021 or 2020. That was when I made this video, right? So I think today will be the public. This will be the public view of this video. I've done this video and I've kept it in my archive for a very long time. I've not even posted on social media or something, because I think I'm waiting for the right time, or possibly I felt I should make it more beautiful or something. But I just felt I should play it for us today, sharing my story about examination malpractice. So I tagged it unashamed. And I do hope you also will be bold enough to share your story, your unashamed story. So what's unashamed story? What you used to do before. That is how you were involved in examination malpractices before. Your turning point. What changed? What happened? What made you change your mind? Then, after then, what has been happening? So you could share this to encourage someone, maybe in your cycle, just like Mr. Sam said in his presentation. One of the motives of this research project is that after this project, or during the course of this project, we all will go into our community, we inspire young ones against examination malpractices, making them believe in their God-given ability. All right, let me play the video, then we can discuss further on that. I believe you can see my screen. Can you react if you can see my screen? Great. Thank you. All right. Hello, friends. I'm Akitunde Alexander from Unblemished Advocacy.
Unblemished Advocacy is a faith not-for-profit organization that is dedicated to the educational social cause and to effect change to the educational men in this society. We advocate for a corruption-free life and academics. We admonish students to stand for excellence in purity and integrity. We believe it is possible for students to pass examinations without any external influence. This we advocate through outreaches, social media campaigns, magazines, and lots more.
Examination malpractice has erroneously become a norm in our society. This has been the root of corruption in this nation. I'll be sharing my story briefly. I have been a victim of examination malpractice and every other form of undiscipline and unfaithfulness. I could remember vividly, I had been a victim of the so-called Miracle Center, where destiny had been hampered. I had been a victim of peer readings amidst friends, studying together, study partners, whereby you will share topics amidst yourself and you depend on one another in the examination. The good news is that I got to know the truth so early in life, before building on a faulty and a faulty foundation. How I overcame. It is written, that you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. The truth about examination and education and the joy of learning tends to make me believe so much in my God-given brain and ability to sit for an examination and to reproduce by myself. Examination itself is an integral part of education, which is used to check and to test one's skill and how prepared you are, how thoroughly made you are in some moments of time, not a pass by all means appear. Inasmuch you have sat diligently to learn on your own, then passing an examination should not be difficult by God's grace. I can remember vividly, I was lighted up by some young folks that came around during my secondary school education to motivate and to inspire us for excellence in our academics without any external influence. This tends to help me to believe so much on my God-given ability to diligently prepare for examination, to enjoy the joy of learning, and to reproduce in the examination hall, all by His grace alone. It is my belief that all things are possible, not necessarily because I am exceptional or so intelligent. I have only purposed in my heart, like the biblical Daniel in Babylon, to stand for Him, to stand for Jesus, and to stand for Him alone. I am of the opinion that every student can emulate this, that academic purity is worth celebrating the same way as sexual purity. It is written, whosoever believe in Him, the Lord Jesus, will not be put to shame. I am unashamed. All right, thank you so much for watching. So that is my story. I am not ashamed. I do hope you are not ashamed also. I'm of the opinion that a change starts with individual mind one day. So once you make today or any day your point of change, then you transform your mind, then you begin to act accordingly. So just like I've said, and I would love us to have this mindset as we go on in this research project, as we go to the field collecting data and all of that. This organization or this vision doesn't have the core value to maybe to condemn people that does examination malpractice or to point fingers. No, that's not what we are doing. Why? Because we are also once a victim of that. We were once in their shoe. And what makes people behave this way they behave is because they don't know better, right? People don't know better. They don't know better. That's why they behave that way. So if we will drive change, then we need to see in their shoe. We need to see in their mind that we were one like them. And if we will convince people or influence them into our own camp, into our own side, for them to start living right, then we need to be patient with them. We don't have to condemn them, but we need to make them to see the reason why they need to start living rightly, living in integrity, motivating them, making them believe in their self, in their God-given brain and ability, and knowing that by themselves they can succeed without having to depend on anyone for their assessment. I feel it's as simple as that. And as we go on in the project, going on the field, collecting data in our locality, I would love us to have this at the back of our mind. All right. So I'll also be sharing another story of a friend. Before I will take some other story from you, if you have any. Please, can you confirm if you can still see my screen? Can you confirm you can still see my screen and you can hear me clearly? All right, thank you. Okay, so to further on my story, just like you've watched from the video. So what actually gave me a change? Just like I've said before, I've been in a miracle center before, yes. My first external exam was in a miracle center. I believe you know what miracle center is. Do you know what miracle center is? I think Mr. Sam also mentioned that. Do you know what miracle center is? Right. All right. A miracle center, they call it in quotes miracle center because maybe they perform miracle, right? You don't have to read. You don't have to study. Don't worry. You can have A's. Just like Mr. Sam said, we have a lot of students now having A in all their WAEC results, and yet they couldn't pass JAMB. That's miracle. Isn't that miracle on its own? So it's miracle. So I was once in a miracle center for my external examination, though it wasn't convenient. It wasn't of my own will, but influences. So I found myself there. And the funniest thing, I actually passed that exam. I had all my papers. It was very good, but it was when I had not known the truth then. Yeah, so I've been there. I've also been a victim of, right? It's not really that I was a bright student even from my secondary school days, but there are some things you can't just against, right? Even amidst bright students, you see them sharing topics within them. So maybe they're preparing for test or exam, they share topics. You read topic 1, 2, I will read 3, 4. Then in the exam, we can form a network. You understand? So that if I forget question 3, I can quickly beep you, then you tell me. Those are stuffs we do then while growing up in secondary school. But what made a change in my life? There used to be some young folks from University of Ife then. I had my secondary school education at Ile Ife. So there used to be some young folks, young university students from OAU that do come to our secondary school, them just on outreaches, just like what we do at Unblemished Advocacy, and just like what some of you will be doing going forward, influencing young secondary school students. They came to our school then, they talked to us about examination malpractices, why it is wrong, why we should believe in ourselves, we can pass examination on our own. It sounds very difficult, but we decided to try it. When I tried the first time sitting for examination by myself, I failed, right? So meaning failure is part of the journey. Failure is part of the journey. Failure is not a disease. You should not be afraid of failing. If you fail and it is by yourself, it is by your brain, you actually failed honorably, right? And you'll be proud of yourself. There used to be a saying which has formed so much part of my life that if you have tried your best, then you will be proud of yourself. So meaning, if you actually tried your best for any assessment, for any exam, you actually tried your best. Irrespective of the results you have, you will be proud of yourself that this is my handwork. I did this by myself. So what does that tell us? What does that point to? There is dignity, there is prestige, there is confidence in integrity. So that's what that tells. So meaning deciding to stand alone in integrity does not mean you will not fail. Failure might come sometimes if you don't prepare very well, but it's still part of the story. But I can tell you, getting to my undergraduate education, I sat for my JAMB myself, though I didn't get the best of the score, but I'm proud of myself. I had 220 in my JAMB. It was by myself. I didn't have 300. I'm proud, right? For my university education, I studied civil engineering. And if you're an engineering student, you know how tough engineering could be. So for my engineering program, I sat for about 90 examinations. From my estimations, I sat for about close to 90 examinations, which I did by myself. So to the glory of God, I could boldly say throughout my undergraduate education, I did every of my examination by myself without any external influence, without cheating, without malpractices, for a 5 years program, 5 years course, right? Though I didn't graduate with the first class, but I had a very strong 2-1. So all of these are all about mindset, are all about being proud of yourself, that irrespective what you have, irrespective the result you are having, in as much you have tried your best, then you will be proud of yourself. So in essence, what this story, the Unashamed story, is only telling us is that in all of our endeavors, we should decide to stand. Just decide to stand. Decide to do something different. If I'm addressing undergraduate, you're still in school, decide to stand. Stand alone. Every of your other friends might be against you. People might not understand what you are doing, but you will be happy about it later in future, later in life, when you have your certificate, when you have your results, and you can boldly stand openly. Imagine we are on call today. Maybe I might not have a lot of crowd on this call today. Maybe you are 5, maybe we are 5 on this call or 10, but I'm happy sharing this that I could stand anywhere for my undergrad education. It is by myself alone. Nobody on heaven or nobody on earth could stand beside me and say, oh, I assisted in one of the exams. No, it's all by the glory of God, all by the grace of God. So this is what saying. It is something you could do with all joy, saying and celebrating. So more or less, I am of the opinion. So now in this part of the world, especially, people celebrate sexual purity, just like what I mentioned in that video. People celebrate sexual purity, no sex before marriage and all of that. I am of the opinion that educational purity is worth celebrating, just like sexual purity too. So just as I'm sharing this, Mr. Isaac shared his own experience also. There is a joy you have in your heart when you share stuff like this in your educational endeavor. You have stopped doing this, though at times you still fail. You might not have the best of results you're expecting, but you know every of your results you are producing, it is by yourself alone. It is not by any external influence. So in essence, just to cut that short, there is dignity in that. There is dignity in that. All right. So lastly, before we end for today, I'll be sharing another story. So I harvested this story from one of my friends, my colleagues, while on campus then. So this, my friend, is Akintunde Omaleke. He's a medical doctor right now. And in Nigeria, if not in Nigeria alone, you will agree with me that medicine and surgery. Okay, I'm not sure you can see my screen. All right, let me reshare. You agree with me, medicine and surgery is still one of the toughest courses we could talk about when we want to talk about any course. Because someone might be saying, it's because you didn't study a very tough course. That's why you could do that. So here's my friend, Akintunde Omaleke, who is also unashamed. So Akintunde Omaleke studied medicine and surgery, is currently practicing as a medical doctor. Let me quickly read the story to you briefly, and that will lead us to round up the call for today. All right, let me read quickly. Said, I'm Akintunde Omaleke. So this was in 2021. He was a final year medical student in LAUTECH then. He said, I've written a few examinations in my life. I have been writing exams for over 2 decades now. I did cheat in some and in others, chose not to. That's a very instructive word, which I would love us to meditate and think on. So meaning, we that we are standing, which I believe you'll be standing after today also, we are not saints. So the word unashamed, the word unblemished, doesn't necessarily mean we are holier than thou, that we are trying to point finger. No, that's not what we are trying to achieve. We are trying to say we have been in this shoe before, but we have chosen to stop doing it because we know it is wrong. That's exactly what we are preaching at Unblemished Advocate. So my friend said he has been writing exams for the past 2 years. He has cheated in some, but in others, he decided not to, which is the right decision we all are supposed to make. He said, the last time I cheated in an exam was when I wrote my second UTM in 2013. I had to write UTME 3 times before securing admission and all of that. So what's the turning point in my friend's life? He mentioned that his turning point was when he gave his life to Christ. Few months after he resumed tertiary institution. So that makes a turning point in his life. So you see, anchoring your faith in something greater than you, anchoring your faith on divinity as a way of helping your decision also in integrity. So my friend anchored his faith on the divinity, which is giving his life to Christ, actually makes so much difference in his life, and he saw a reason why he should start living rightly. So he also mentioned that in all of that, in all of the exam that he has written after the decision, he has failed some, he had passed majority of others. And his testimony is that he has done all in the capacity by standing for truth and by deciding to do so. He said he acknowledged that there are people like him who have engaged in examination malpractices in their lives, either minor or major, and his testimony today is that we can all be bright students. We can all be bright students in life, without engaging in examination malpractices. So that is quite as simple as that. Believing in yourself, just from the story I shared last week, rounding up the call about Abraham Lincoln's story, Abraham Lincoln's letter to his son's teacher. Hold on, please. A few seconds. All right, thank you. So Abraham Lincoln's story to his friends, to his son's teacher, said, believe in your own idea when others said they are wrong, saying it is honorable. Said it is honorable to fail than to cheat. Believe in your own idea, even when others says they are wrong. So it is quite honorable to fail than to cheat. If you want to fail, you fail honorably. But you know what I've actually also decided, I've also I've come to understand about this mindset. I mean, mindset of integrity is that, see, in as much you know that there's no one that can help you in the exam, you can't depend on yourself, friends. You can't whisper. There's a way it spur you to prepare more, right? There's a way it increase your diligent level, and there's a way that helps you to excel in every of your endeavor. That's another secret to integrity. Once you know you can't cut corners, you cannot bribe your way for grades and all of that, there's a way it spur you. It gives you greater capacity to study harder, to be more diligent, to have a joy of, there's something we call a joy, the joy of learning. You learn with joy because you know you don't have a score area. It's either you pass or you pass. So that is how it works. So I'll be stopping here to hear your view about this, maybe in 1 or 2, in the remaining 8 minutes we are having before we end the call. So lastly for today, from my side for today, at Unblemished Advocacy, we have a vow card. There's something we call my vow card, or you can call it your pledge card or your integrity card. This is more or less like a template to what Mr. Sam was saying after his teaching today, that we need a memento. What do I mean by a memento? You need like something you can hold to. That, okay, today I am making this decision. Maybe I've been committing examination malpractice before. I have supported this before now. But after today, I want to make this decision that I will stand, even if I have to stand alone. I will stand, even if I have to stand alone. This is quite important, as you'll be representing the cause and the vision of this organization as a research fellow. We go into the field, trying to get data, seeing why people do this. You know, it won't really make sense, or let me say it will be wrong, if we will be investigating what we are not. That is why it is important we all have this mindset together. We all agree with this before we launch out seeking data in this research. All right, so if you can see my screen, I would love you to read together if you agree with this mindset. I'll be sharing this with everybody, which I would love you to feel. You put your name, your signature. If you're happy with it, you can print it out. You can frame it if you want to. You can have this in your closet, which will keep reminding you of your decision to stand against examination malpractices and to stand for integrity in all your endeavors. So if you can read with me, you can quickly read. Let's read together. I said, you put your name. Said, I'm pledging to God, myself, and the world at large, keep my life and my academic pursuit free from examination malpractices and all forms of corruption. I promise to stand my ground firmly against anything that defies, and to be a shining light and a testament of purity and academic integrity in this corrupt generation. This I pledge to do always, even if I have to stand alone. So you see, that last sentence and phrase is very strong, because most of the time I have to tell you, you will have to stand alone, right? Especially in this world we find ourselves. Most of the time, you will have to stand alone. So this I pledge to do always, even if I have to stand alone. Meaning, if you are standing alone, you will not bend, you will not shake because you are the only
You will
one.
not. You will not.
There's a common saying that everybody is doing something does not make it right, and that you are the only one doing something does not make it wrong. Let me repeat myself. That everybody is doing something or following a path does not make that path right, and that you are the only person standing for something does not make it wrong. So it is all about knowing what you are standing for. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for participating this evening. So we have 5 minutes to end. I would love to hear your view. If you have a question, you want to say something before we end the call for tonight. All right. Thank you. Great. All right. Any question? Any contribution? You want to add something? You want to say something? Okay. All right, Isaac, you want to say something? You want to say something? Are you still raising your hand? All right, I'm not sure there's anything. All right, thank you so much for participating, everybody. So I want you to do something for me again, just like we did last week. I want you to go on the group. I want you to reflect on everything we've discussed today, we've learned today. Please, I want you to put your reflection on that WhatsApp chat so that people that are not in will catch one or two things. Everything we've discussed, what's your take home from today? What's your decision? What do you want to decide after today? What has come as a light on you? Do you feel it is worth influencing young secondary school students with something like this in your community? How can we do that? Share stuffs on the WhatsApp group and we can pick it up from that. I want you to remember, it was some young folks just like you. Who knows? Maybe they were fellows just like you, or maybe they were just doing their own out of their good art. They were in my secondary school then. They sowed a seed in me, just like many of you will also sow some seed of greatness into young folks in your area, and you won't know how much or how far that seed will go. Imagine those young folks that came to my school then, if they have decided not to come, maybe I will have still been in examination malpractices. I won't have found purpose. I won't have found this great vision and all of that. So in essence, doing what is right, living for what is right, and preaching what is right always transcend the bearer. Meaning you should not, you can't underestimate the power of the seed or of little mentorship you would do in your community for those young secondary school students in your areas, young primary school students in your areas, maybe even in your universities, maybe by virtue of some facts, maybe you are a leader in your college, in your university. Those little influence, you can't tell how much it will go. So my last word of admonition will be, let's keep doing our best in improving the society in the best way we can. Let's keep standing for integrity, academic excellence, and impurity. Thank you so much. So lastly, before we end the call, if anyone is speaking, I would love our research coordinator to say something to us. If he has anything to say before we pray lastly, then we'll end the call. Dr. Edward, please, let's hear from you if you have anything to talk to us about.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Sam. Thank everyone for today's meeting.
Your audio is low, sir. We can't really hear you well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Yeah, I say thank you, everyone. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Sam, for the teaching and the presentation thus far. It's actually an eye-opener and also helping us to reinforce the idea that in this project we are not stigmatizing anyone. Like Alex rightly pointed out, we are all victims of examination malpractice one way or the other. So the level of involvement might differ, but one way or the other, if we go back into our closet and reflect, we actually know that we participated in examination malpractice. And I would also advise that this pledge is something I think all of us should have placed or projected somewhere in our rooms or offices, or a place where that when you look up, you'll know that yes, this was who I am, and this is who I am today. God will help us. And I will also say that for the teachings thus far, that of Sam, you should actually hold it in high esteem as to actually be a great tool for us when we go out there to get primary information during interviews and admission of questionnaires. So that when you are trying to explain to the person what examination malpractice is, you're able to point examples to them. But there are some, while Sam was presenting, there are some things I know that, so this is what they call this. So it really helps you to enforce some things that you've known before now. And examination malpractice has become a cancer within the Nigerian educational system. Most people grew up within the system that they don't even know that some of the things they are doing, some of the practices they participate in, are actually examination malpractice. For example, corporate work in the examination, or some people don't see it as a bad thing. They feel, I'm not disturbing, I'm not making it, I'm just asking a simple question, and they don't see it as examination malpractice. So when we go out with these examples, Andy, it actually help us to get better information from our respondents out there. And I pray that God will help us all in Jesus' name. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So these sections, all the sections are recorded. I'll be sharing the link with us if you want to refer back to them, and the slides also, I believe, they will be shared. So for tomorrow's section will be our last training section. Tomorrow's section will be having a training on data, maybe how to is it something on data techniques, maybe preparing questionnaires, how we can design questionnaires. Data, in essence, is all about the research. And the second section, we're having 2 sections tomorrow, and the second teaching section will be on communicating academic or scientific research. So it will be on maybe how we can do literature review briefly, some practical steps in doing literature review, how we can reference accordingly, and how we can communicate our findings in reports. So please, I want to urge you, don't miss tomorrow's section. Let's be punctual as we did today. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating, and hope to see us tomorrow. All right, we can pray briefly. Feel free to join us if we are comfortable to. Our Father, we want to appreciate you once again. We give you all the praise. We give you all the glory. Thank you for the deliberation. Thank you for the discussion. We are so grateful. We believe we've shined your light in the heart of people. We believe people have caught burdens, they've caught visions, why we need to stand for integrity, why we need to do things right. Our Father, will commit the other sections tomorrow into your hands. We ask you to take perfect control. We commit the project at large. We ask that you will help us and you will give us fruition. You will give us great success regarding this project. We thank you, Father, because you have answered us. We thank you because you will forever be the supporter and sharing this great vision. Thank you because you have answered our prayer. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Thank you so much. Lastly, I guess, Joshua, you're raising your hand. You want to say something? All right. All right. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. See you tomorrow. Please don't forget to share your reflection on the WhatsApp group. I'm waiting. I want to see your awesome reflections. Thank you. Bye.